Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 5 of BA231. This is the last week, so I just want to start off with a reminder that if you have missed turning something in the past, please get it in. I can get it graded this week. One thing to remember is after this week, I cannot accept anything that is late unless there are extenuating circumstances, and it has to be pretty drastic circumstances. Just because you forgot or something like that is not going to work. I cannot accept anything at 12:01, 12:02. It has to be before midnight at the end of Friday. So please get it in before then. If you have any questions about that policy, please let me or the school know. We'll be happy to talk to you about it. So I want to talk about what is due this week besides any past due homework that you may have if it is out there. So you can see right here, Module 5 deadlines for this unit are on Friday instead of Sunday. Don't forget that. That is key. You'll have your checklist and objectives, lectures and readings again. You'll have your discussion, which we will look at when you open that. Your lecture response after you watch this, be sure to get it in by Wednesday to get full points. If it's after that, it is deducted 20% for being late. And you'll have your final project. The final project is a big one, so get going on that. Don't wait until Friday afternoon to get going on it, because it can take a little while to do it. So let's dig into the discussion question, and then we will get to the final project. So we are going to learn about make or buy decisions and what is the most important considerations in the process. And then what do you think most people overlook or undervalue in this process? So make or buy. If you're not familiar with that term, the book will talk a little bit about it. But it's basically, does your company want to make a part or does your company want to buy a part? So let's think about this, for example, with a car company. Cars have thousands of parts that go on them, nuts, bolts. I mean, think about the hinges for the doors, all of the glass, all of the trim that goes on it, all of the stuff that's going to help keep your water out, like the weather stripping thing. Like there's just tons and tons of parts that go into that. Ford, GMC, Chevy, I can tell you they do not make every part for their car. They do buy some from other companies. Have you ever heard of a Chevrolet tire or a Ford tire? No, I'm not for sure they might own stock in a company that makes tires, but they don't necessarily make their own tires in their plant and then just roll them across the factory and put them on there. They come from somewhere else. So a company cannot make everything. Sometimes they don't want to make it just because it's going to take too long for them to make it. Sometimes they have to look at an economy of scale. Sometimes they have to look at what their expertises are. There's a lot of companies out there that can build an engine really well, but they might not be able to build a car really well or something like that. So make or buy decisions, there's a lot of things that can go into that. You'll have to think about the price, your expertise, think about what the market is, think about what you want to focus on, and then just defend your answer with that. Either way, you can give an example of both if you would like. Say, in this situation I would do make, in this situation I would do buy. That's fine. Just support your opinions on that, basically. Now let's go back. Again, so that is due, your discussion is due by Wednesday, and then your final two posts are due by Friday. Your lecture response is also due by Wednesday, and then you'll have your final project, which is due by Friday. So the final project, let's pull it up here, and this is just problem 13.2a. So this is kind of a culmination of everything. You're going to look at financial statements. You're going to do an income statement, a statement of owner's equity, and a balance sheet. And it says in here to make sure that it is professional and clear. I have built a template that will help ensure that that is possible if you use that. You don't have to use it if you do not want to. Again, it's just there as a reference, but it will greatly help you with the process, I think. So let's download the template and dig into it and look at it a little bit. So I've got the template pulling up here. And as we are going through this, if you want to follow along, we'll be looking at it. It starts on page 467. Let's see, let me enable the editing and scroll up. So you can see here we're going to have an income statement. And you'll have, I put cells in here with formulas. So that'll help kind of add things as you go along. You're going to have your statement of owner's equity and then your balance sheet. And I've given you some clues on here as we go. So let's start to look at this. So on page 467, that basically gives you the instructions on what you're going to want to do. All of the numbers, though, start on page 468. So what you're going to want to do, I've given you operating revenue, sales, less sales, returns, and allowances. We saw that in our other assignments. So this kind of is the grand finale for the class because it's building on so many things we've already learned about. You're going to want to go through and you're going to want to figure all of this out so you can figure out what your net income is for the year. Here's a hint. Net income should be $144,870. So let's just look at our operating revenue here. So you're going to have sales. If you look about halfway down the page on 468, you'll see that your sales were $1,110,300. So that's what you sold. Then you're going to have less sales returns and allowances. So you have, it's essentially like a contra account. You have your sales that went out, but you have to take out your returns and allowances. So you might have sold essentially $1.1 million in products, but if somebody brought something back to you, you need to take that out. So you will have to go through and you will find that amount. You'll see it's on the next line. So you're going to take out, you're going to put in $8,400 here. That will give you, you can see that I've got a formula set up for you. So your net sales for the year were $1,101,000, $1,101,900. Now, when you go through this, I've given you a hint of where you should put your numbers to feed off of some of the formulas here. So if there's a dollar sign and the mark right here, you can see use those cells to enter things. As you go through, it's going to populate everything that is in yellow. So you'll have your merchandise inventory that is on there. And as you go through, you will see that that is $131,400. And then you'll go through, you're going to populate all that. Everything you can see is going to start flowing through. So if it's over here to the right, that's essentially a final number. All of these numbers flow here to this. These numbers will flow through and then flow down to this. And then they'll add up. It should come to $144,870. Next, you'll have your statement of owner's equity. This is going to build off of, you're going to have your net income for the year, or excuse me, you'll have your capital income, which is from January 1. Then you're going to have your net income for the year, less your withdrawals for the year, your increase in capital, and then the total capital at the end of the year. Since you're watching this, here's another hint for you as a reward for watching it. $401,090. That should be your number on there. Then you're going to go through here. This is just your balance sheet. So you'll have what your cash is at the end of the year, your petty cash, your notes receivable, excuse me, all of that. Then you'll have your accounts receivable here, less your allowance for doubtful accounts, which will give you essentially your net accounts receivable. And then you're going to go down here. All of these will populate. Here is your total assets. So your total assets for the year are $510,390. And then read that line that I put on there below it. It says, remember the accounting equation to get your final number for liability and owner's equity. That's a clue. So why am I saying remember the accounting equation? Because on the accounting equation, you'll have that equal sign. So the left side has to equal the right side. So you will have your assets equals owner's liability and owner's equity. So when you go through, what do you think that this number should equal? Should equal this number to make sure that it balances. And then you will have a question at the end of it. So with this one, the main thing that you want to do, I've given you quite a few clues on this, because if you can figure out this, you'll be able to figure out this. And you've got your checkpoint number there. As you go through here, you've got your checkpoint number there. So if something is off, go through and just try to add up your numbers that are in here and look at them to figure out where you are off. This one isn't necessarily overly complicated. It's just, it requires a lot of attention to detail. Essentially, you want to make sure that you're entering all of the right numbers in the right columns to get the right amount. If you have any questions, please let me know. I would be more than happy to answer them. And just, I want to thank everybody for the great class, for the great discussions. You know, I've really enjoyed the open discussions that we've had and the feedback that you guys have given each other. That always makes class a lot better, and it's able to make it feel more like a classroom setting, even though that we are online. So again, just thank you for a great class, and good luck with the rest of your future classes. If you have any questions, please let me know. I would be more than willing to answer them. Or you can reach out to your program director if they need to talk to me, and we can get you some help, whatever you need for this last assignment. But just try to finish strong, and remember to get everything in on time if you can, because I cannot accept anything that is late. So again, thank you very much, and have a great last week of class.